एक ब्रूटलिज्म करके एक आर्किटेक्चर में होता है जो वर्ल्ड वॉर 2 के बाद आया था. मैं अभी जब आपके पॉडकास्ट के रिसर्च कर रहा था तो मैंने कहीं कहीं और चीज़ें जो पढ़ी उसमें मुझे पता चला, विच इज़ समथिंग दैट वी हैव रेप्लिकेटेड ऑल अराउंड इंडिया. एंड
चंडीगढ़ इज द बेस्ट एग्जांपल ऑफ इट.
हाँ, चंडीगढ़ वाज स्टिल अ बिगनिंग. अब तो जो है, अब तो सब जगह उन्होंने वही सेम मॉडल रेप्लिकेट कर दिया है. सो नाउ ऑल आवर सिटीज लुक सिमिलर एंड I would not hesitate to say all our cities look ugly.
You're absolutely right. And I feel we should call a spade now. You know, it's we've lost all sense of aesthetics from being champions of aesthetics. We've become champions in ruining it. मतलब कुछ सुंदर है तो उसको भी खराब करना.
Like we blindly followed West in this, and we didn't have to, because there was no devastation in our country, at least because of World War II.
Yeah, exactly.
They had to do it because lots of bombs were dropped, lots of
absolutely
buildings were collapsed. That is also something that you know, you have done your research about. Tell me something more about it.
So brutalism, I found this very interesting when I heard the term, because I found the term very interesting कि क्या होगा and all, and I used to think what brutal buildings होंगे, which is not true.
Raw concrete.
It's raw concrete like basically. So all these structures, Chandigarh has a lot of them around. We've seen it's tied to do with a lot of socialist architecture, where there was no form of design or art that was included in the architecture. It was very function based. I am not a big fan of it at all. I feel India is maximalism, and we are all about flowy lines and design and wall paintings. But brutalism sadly had such a big impact that it's sort of taken over the landscape in these different cities, including Jaipur. You know, there are places like there's a Nehru Sekhar Bhavan, which is very brutalist in its architecture. So, I mean, I was watching a podcast on someone and how, you know, where are the aesthetics gone? Why have we become this community, society that's just sort
herd
of outright
we have
rejecting? But it makes no sense. I mean, even in villages now, people are making these ugly glass houses, whereas before they used to have, and it's not a money thing. People think it's a class thing. I've gone and seen a person's house in a village who's not from a very sort of influential background having better aesthetics than someone in Bombay making a glass building or a glass house. So it still continues.
Any idea how, मतलब जो हमारा जो modern architecture का जो raw concrete वाला जो style है, and the earlier what we used to have, which one is more costlier? So like you are telling about the person who made this architecture, so if he would have made it in the way the modern architectures are made,
right,
वो उसे costly पड़ता है या what he did?
आपको ठेकेदार से पूछना पड़ेगा.
It makes sense.
But you know, the thing is, it may be a little more expensive to make classical architecture or use classical materials, but it will last you so much longer. Concrete and cement last for how long? Yeah, 80, 100 years, people say max to max.
Made to last forever almost.
So 1000 साल आपके, you know, 1000 years if you keep it well.
Chittorgarh, if you see, like
Chittor, I mean, Ambe, all the, I mean, you know, there's just no dearth of buildings and structures. So I feel that, you know, it's just सोचने वाली बात. It's I call it heritage consciousness. You know, we've lost that, how we look at things. And Rajasthan was famous for it because we belong to a desert, more or less. You know, it's an arid, semi-arid sort of region. The Rajasthanis looked at land and resources differently because they are the only people जो पूरे दुनिया में एक desert में रहते हैं. इतने high capacity
there was scarcity of resources.
So much so that they used to even harness moisture. Forget about पानी तो आप, you know, manage कर रहे हो, पकड़ रहे हो. Even moisture को पकड़ के ये लोग करते थे. So in Rajasthan, there's a beautiful book I must suggest anyone in Hindi though, called Rajasthan की रजत बूंदे. And people compare droplets of rain to silver. It was so precious. And that's why water is something that's common, the importance in Rajasthan. आपने देखा होगा जयपुर आप आए तो यहाँ कोई धोरे तो है नहीं. यहाँ पे हमारे अरावली धोरा sand dunes.
Okay.
We don't have sand dunes that you see Jaisalmer, Jodhpur. So the Aravali hill range cuts Rajasthan in two parts. One is western.
To Mewar it goes, right?
So one is western, which is more where you see the dunes and camels and what people think Rajasthan is. Again, water very important there. The second is our side, which is eastern Rajasthan, which is Jaipur and Kota and Alwar and Bundi and Baswada, which is east of the Aravali range, which is more hill ranges. So it is also very dry. So the hill ranges have been used to catch water in the most spectacular ways. So that's another thing that people, we talk about the Mughal patronage of art and architecture. Somehow the Rajputs just get sort of missed out. Why don't people talk about Rajput gardens? Why don't people talk about Rajput water systems, which is fabulous? Yeah, Jaipur mein there are 800 wells. Venice में 600 wells है.
इसमें फिर हमें वही हिस्ट्री में जाना पड़ेगा.
History में, and I feel just
why it
promoting it
happened
well.
Because they don't want to give credit to our native civilization.
Someone said this very well. I've forgotten who. One of some. You know that Rajputs represent the best of India and our Indian civilization, and this narrative of putting down the Indians comes hand to hand, and because of that the Rajputs are also put in, because the minute you give us this pedestal is people will realize and will feel a certain pride in being Indians, which people don't want. So that's just
unfortunate.
The dirty game that's been played. But what to do? I mean, we as Rajputs, as people or as historians, have to sort of just keep at it. I mean, I feel it's a duty now more than work that we have to. I mean, without whitewashing anything, without
putting anybody else down.
Exactly. You don't have to now. Today, if the Marathas are, in the limelight and they want to sort of with Bollywood movies and stuff, great. But when you're in that process, you don't have to put the Rajputs down, because then the Rajputs have enough sort of ammo to put you down, and then it just becomes a dirty game,
Yeah, exactly. So, dirty war, dirty social media.
Yeah. Which is already happening now. You go on to Twitter, there's only communities abusing each other. I mean, what pride will we have in the nation if that is... and I was very much against it, but the minute I saw how easily people are offended and how fast they are to react...
Against what?
Against anything. If you say something that, like for example, this is an interesting part that we spoke about Yadav Rajputs, and I am a Yadav Rajput. But in the 1910-20s, there was a Mahasabha of the Ahir community where they